Can I give this to you, Don? I have too many words up here for me to have all that other stuff, so. So I'm not claiming that this will be the last time on the stage, but it is the last time that I'm going to be on the stage in this capacity as your assistant minister. And if you didn't know that, it was announced last Sunday. I have put my resignation in. And it was my choice. Don't worry, Kathy Ann's not kicking me out. It was all me. And it was a really hard choice. I just want to make this very clear. This is probably one of the hardest choices I've ever had to make in my life because of how much I love all of you. And I can see you in person, and for those of you online, I see you too. You know, we've said several times that 2/3 of our community is online. People don't realize that we have 3 different feeds for online, and people online might be like, oh my God, there's only 5 people on Facebook, or there's only, 50 people on YouTube, but once you add it all up, it's like 200 people are watching First Service. So hi, everybody all online. We love you. And I love all of you who are here in person. And there's this thing that vision can call you into an even higher level of evolution. And I've been doing a lot of visioning lately. And in the visioning, it's called me to take a leap. I don't know if you've read the book, The Big Leap. I highly encourage it. But if you read that book, it's like there's a point where you're in a world of good, but there can be a next level of great. And I'm being called to take a leap into that possibility. And what that means is I have to put my whole self into it. And it's incredibly scary, I will say that. But at the same time, it's very exciting. And I'm also grieving. It's very weird. It's all of these human emotions coming up. My goodness. And I just want you to know that I'm still going to be here. Like, I'm not leaving the Pacific Northwest. I'm going to be here. And the relationships we've created are relationships that will last. As a matter of fact, I personally purchased all the hearts. So if you came in, you got yourself a heart rock. That's from my money. If you are online, come to second service. But actually, for the next 2 weeks, we'll have them downstairs as well by the table, where I've asked people to write prayers and cards for me that I can take with me on my next adventure. But I'll have that on the table so that way, if you aren't here in person, you can come and you can still pick up a heart. And I picked these heart rocks because it's a physical metaphor of our journey together. These rocks came from everywhere. They probably were in mountains and deserts all over the planet. And their original form was not in a heart shape. They probably endured different changes and transformations on their journey. And eventually they made it into this shape. And it was through pressure and challenges and maybe grinding and rubbing that allowed this shape to come into being. But that's the journey. And in our journey together, I want you to know that this is a stand from me to you for our unbreakable resilience together. This is a symbol of the potential of our continuous transformation. This is a tangible reminder of our interconnected journey. That's why I wanted to give you something physical that you could take home with you. And I'm sorry about those of you who are online. I'm here. You get my energetic representation of it. But I invite you to hold your rock during our time together and take it with you as a personal talisman of possibility, because I'm taking a stand for possibility. I'm taking a stand for the idea that even though one chapter closes, that doesn't mean that the whole book is written. That means that we're just on our next adventure. And I think it's really important to recognize that, the Lakota tradition, stones are the wisdom keepers. They're the oldest living beings on this planet, according to the Lakota Native Americans. And they contain thousands of years of wisdom. And so we can hold them and have a tangible feeling of that wisdom. In the Buddhist tradition, stones represent steadfastness and strength. And in Kabbalistic teaching, stones symbolize the transformation of potential into manifestation. I wanted to give you that because there's so much going on right now in my life, in our community, in our country, in the world. And we have this monthly theme, which is about stories. And it's really important, the stories that we're going to tell, and the stories that we tell about our past and about our future. It's really important for us to get clear on what the story is, because it changes how we behave. Because stories shape our reality. Last week, Kathy Ann talked about TV in the early days. She said, okay, there was cowboys and there was Indians, and who were the good guys and who were the bad guys? Because there was a story written about the Native Americans, the Indians who are on this land being the bad guys, and the cowboys being the good guys. There's stories being told at all times about, who the good guys are and the bad guys are. And I want to invite you to be like Rumi and know that there's a field outside of right and wrong or good and bad, and that's where we need to meet each other. And we also need to pay attention to the stories that we tell. I know that the stories of the cowboys and Indians have been rewritten because I've been aware of the fact that this land that we're on is native land. It's indigenous land. And unless you were a descendant of any of the tribes that were originally on this land, then you're an immigrant. That's me. I'm an immigrant. I do not have any Native American history in my blood. I have family that comes from Poland and Germany and Ireland, and that's kind of what makes America great, is the fact that we are here together in all of our different heritages with a dream that potentially we could come together and make it work. And I actually believe that that is still a possibility. I think about Harriet Tubman. She is one of my biggest heroes. Now, I don't know what it was like to be alive during her time, but I'm sure it was pretty sucky for her. It was pretty bad. And she had a dream that maybe it's possible for humans to not enslave each other, and that there could be freedom for those who are enslaved. And she took action in alignment with that truth because she knew it was possible. Now, for the slaves who were on the plantations, maybe they forgot, or maybe they did know it was possible, but they didn't know how. They didn't know there was a Harriet Tubman out there who knew how to get things done and make it happen. But don't you think that's where we're at right now, that we're in a place of unlimited potentiality and possibility, and maybe we don't know how things can unfold, but we have to align in a collective belief of possibility. Because if we give up on our dreams, then we say they're not possible. By giving up on them, we make them not happen. By believing in our dreams, by creating what we would love, by saying what we would love, by acting in alignment with what we would love, we're actually in the act of creating that very possibility. And unless we're doing those actions that are in alignment with what we would love, then we are giving up on the possibility. So we're at choice point. What would we choose? What would we love? So the question is, what story are we writing? Are we writing a story of resilience? Are we writing a story of possibility? Are we writing a story of co-creation? Or are we writing a story of that's not possible? I'm writing a story that it's possible for me to leave this full-time, beautifully paid job. And that it is possible for me to be fully supported by the universe, and I don't know how. But I will ask you all to pray for me. Because I do know that God knows how, and I believe in a God of unlimited possibility, and I'm willing to walk my talk in alignment with that truth. But I have to say I've done it before. This isn't the first time. I was working a full-time job at Stanford University, and I had started a center called Center for Spiritual Living Peninsula in Redwood City. And I had the full-time job, and then I was trying to do all the beautiful things that were coming with ministry that I loved so much, and I was doing my job, and it was just kind of getting into a place of like, it was uncomfortable. And I thought, if I don't take a leap and try this ministry thing out full-time, I'll never know. I'll never know. And plus, I won't be walking my talk. And I want to walk my talk. I want to be in a place where when I say something, I am in alignment with that truth. I want to be in integrity with that. And so I'm doing it again. And yeah, it comes with a little bit of kind of like, Have you ever gotten on a roller coaster and you know you're going to be okay? And you're going up the roller coaster and this is what happens to me, I'm just saying. Things start getting really kind of like, oh my God, why did I do this? Why am I doing this? And you kind of hear the over. Then there comes this moment, and I don't know why they do this. It's like they pause at the very top. It's just like, and then all of a sudden it's like, whee! And I am a screamer. I just want you to know that. I will scream the whole time, and then I'll do it again. You know? Because there's actually a very thin line between fear and excitement. And so I tell myself sometimes when I'm afraid, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm not afraid. Maybe I'm just excited. Maybe those little butterflies are just the place where I need to be to go forward into that next thing. And to feel it and still take actions that are in alignment with that. I love this teaching because, Ernest Holmes, he wrote Science on My textbook in 1926. It was a long time ago. It was almost 100 years ago when he wrote the original Science of Mind textbook. And for those of you who are new to this community, Science of Mind is kind of it's not our Bible, but it is a textbook that we refer to a lot because this amazing man, he studied all of the religions, and then he studied science, and he studied psychology, and he studied philosophy. And he was like, wait, there's something that is the same with all of these things. And then he wrote a book about it. And I've read that book. It's a hard read, by the way. For those of you who are new, don't just pick up the Science of Mind textbook and just be like, I'm just going to read this, I mean, you can, but it's like reading a 100-year-old book. It's a little bit different. He does have books that are way newer, like this thing called You, or this thing called Life. Those are much better. But the cool thing about this is he was talking about science. He loves how science is just us discovering how God works. And he said, oh my gosh, we're going to have so much science, we're going to have so much, we're going to evolve so much that we're going to understand that the mystics and the scientists are speaking the same language, but that's happening. The mystics and the quantum physicists are speaking the same language. The quantum physicists are talking about how everything's interconnected, how there's this quantum field and something can happen on one side of this planet, and if they're entangled together, something is entangled with this one thing, that on the other side of the planet, an instantaneous effect can happen. And I'm like, well, that just describes prayer. We've been saying prayer works, and I can pray for somebody on the other side of the planet, and it can work instantaneously. And we're all connected, and so every time I evolve in myself, I affect everybody. That includes self-care. So resilience is in the quantum field of possibility. Because when things are falling apart, when marginalized communities might be facing unprecedented challenges, quantum physics has a radical framework for showing how we can have collective power. Imagine societal transformation as a field of possibilities. And the more people who align with these possibilities, the more that it collapses reality into that possibility. But we have to be willing. We have to be willing to see it, to feel it, to know it, and to act in alignment with it. That's what quantum physics is your consciousness actually affects reality. So collective consciousness actually affects the larger reality. Whatever's happening right now is an effect of the consciousness of everybody in the past. It's all a result. But the beautiful thing is we're at choice point right now. We're at creation place. We're at the place where we can say and speak to and dream up what we would love. And that's individual and that's collective. And I encourage you to think of it in all of those aspects, because whatever you're doing for yourself, you're also affecting the collective. And it's really important to know that we're so interconnected. And every conscious action, every intentional thought, every moment of compassionate act creates ripples of possibility of that thing. Think about the civil rights movement. Think about the fall of apartheid. Think about these times in history where things were looking really, really bad. Where people had lost the idea that we're here to care for each other. And yet, there was a collective group of people who had a different idea of possibility. And because of that collective movement of action, it has created waves in the world. See, your awareness is not separate from the change that you're seeking. As a matter of fact, the change that you're seeking is a part of who you are. And you are here to participate in the co-creation of it. I kind of think that's why we were born in this time-space reality, is because we all chose it. I know that's kind of painful to say, at least for me. And it's really easy to go into victim mode. Like, I didn't choose for my stepmom to die in November. I didn't choose for, whatever to happen out in the world. I didn't choose for this, but on some level, something in the collective consciousness is a part of me, is created so I could bring out the fullness of who I am and what I came to bring to this life at this time. And each and every one of you is implanted, I want to say, with a seed of possibility of who you could truly be. And there's something in you that is about your own individual calling, but that also contributes to the collective beneficial effect of humanity. And I don't want you to discount what that is. You don't need to be, like Martin Luther King. You don't need to be that. Some people are making changes by being a babysitter because they're showing the kids what love looks like. Or maybe a parent. Maybe it's a mentor or a coach, or you're involved in an organization that is helping people see that they are a place where possibility happens. Maybe you're a cook. Maybe you're showing how the beauty of food can enhance the joyful experience of life, because I would not put joy down. I would not put joy down, because joy is our inherent birthright, just like freedom and love. It is our inherent birthright. And if there is a sense of joy, if you're in a room where there is a sense of joy, I truly believe you're doing God's work. So stopping and smelling the roses, having a wonderful conversation with somebody who's a clerk at a grocery store, all of it is part of it. Every single thing is part of the unfolding of who we came here to be. And in that, I will say it's a little bit messy because we have all the emotions too. But I can have joy and grief at the same time. It's all possible. Joy is like a God quality. Joy, grace, love, freedom, those are all God qualities. Those are all inherent in each and every one of us. Nobody can take that away. And our emotions are part of why we were born physical. At least that's what I think. Because I wanted to feel all the feelings, and boy, do I. And can I be whole, perfect, and complete in that too? And the answer is yes. God, I wish I wrote all this stuff down for next service. Let me go to my talk. Wow. I just want to say, though, that doesn't mean ignoring what's going on in the world. It doesn't mean ignoring. But can you stay informed without being consumed by fear? Can you have a vision of justice? Can you believe in this idea of freedom? And can you even grasp onto what Centers for Spiritual Living vision is, which is a world that works for everyone? Now, I certainly do not know how that's possible. But I can say the more I learn about different cultures, different people, different things that are not me, I get a broader understanding of the beauty of life. And it also opens me up to new ways of seeing things. I encourage you to take strategic and compassionate action in alignment with your dreams. And also, this is really key. Understand that your inner state directly influences your outer state, that self-care is key. I know 100 of us ministers have said, remember on the airplane where they say you don't put the kid's mask on first, you put your own mask on first, and then you put the kid's mask on? That is really important. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to help anybody else. It's just like, I can't get sick enough to help sick people. but I can be healthy, and I can. A lot of people think you have to be in that state in order to be a participatory help. I can't get poor enough to help poor people. But if I'm thriving and affluent, I can actually make a difference with my money. So question where you're coming from and recognize that if you are in a place where you can be a generous giver in this world, then you may have come here to be that very thing. And if you're stirred and if you're upset, maybe there's something in that for you. Because change is not an ending. Although change does cause grief. And change is just a new chapter. And even when we're in the midst of transition, it might feel like loss. But really, we might just be making a space for something greater, a greater good to come into form, a place of possibility. You know, Kali, in the Hindu tradition, she represents destruction. And she's pretty, I'm just going to say badass. She's pretty badass. She's got she's got like all of these like swords and stuff, and then she's got like a necklace full, or what's that, belt with like hands and arms and like a necklace of heads and stuff. I mean, it's pretty like, ooh. But you know what she does? She clears the path. She tears everything down so new creation can happen. And in the Hindu tradition, they don't look at that as like a bad thing. They're like, this is what happens, is things have to be torn down or changed in order for the newness to emerge. So if things are changing and Kali is coming through, and the beautiful thing I love about Kali is she is the remover of obstacles. If there are obstacles in your way, she is the one who removes those obstacles. And when she removes the obstacles, the way is made clear for creation. So, where are you in your state? What kind of story are you talking about? What if the changes in your life, the changes in this community, the changes in this country were not endings, but fertile ground for new beginnings? Would you be willing to participate in the collective story of creation? Because we're the light bearers. We're the light workers. We're the ones who are here to shine the light of possibility. And where others have forgotten their truth, we're here to reignite them with that truth. We're the candles in the darkness, the fireflies, the stars. We're the place where things, if they seem bleak, we're like, this is the place of possibility. This is the place of creation. And so know that this week, I want to charge you to bring light where there is darkness. I want to encourage you to be the place of possibility. And if you have lost yourself, I want you to go back and do some radical self-care until you can remember who you are. Because we deserve love. We deserve joy. We deserve freedom. And we are the ones to be that truth at this time in this place. So I hope you will join me in this. Thank you for coming. I'm really grateful you're here. Blessed be. Thank you. Let's pray. Can I have a little bit of like grooviness behind me when I pray? I don't even know what that looks like, but whatever it does, whatever Jake does, I love it. So, yeah. I know that this life can have challenges, it can have like crazy things happen, but within it, there is that infinite possibility, the infinite potential that God is the great creator and is willing to be the place where I show up. And I show up with love, and I show up with joy, and I show up with peace, and I show up with freedom, because I know that this is a place where I deserve to be. And it is not in a physical place, it's wherever I'm at. And so wherever I'm at, I claim and know that God shows off and shows up in and through and around me, that guides me to the right and perfect people and places and circumstances so that I can be free to be the fullest, freest expression of me that I came here to be. And I know and claim that as I create ripples of possibility for myself, that ripples of possibility of love come to me, come through me, and I get to touch my community with that truth. And I know that without a doubt, my community is free. It is for me. It is with me. It is around me. And I see it, and I feel it. And just like the dragonfly, I fly, and I fly. I fly with that unlimited freedom, going up through the muck and through the water and through the crap and all of that. There comes a moment when I just say, it's time to be free, and it's time to be fully me. And as I claim that for myself, I claim that for each and every person who's hearing these words all around the world, knowing that we are, I don't know what a flock of dragonflies is, but that's who we are. I claim it, I know it, I see it, I am it, I be it, right here, right now. And so it is. Yeah, thank you.